guys, today I'm filming my chopping block update number 4. If you guys did not see my intro or any of my other updates, I'll have my playlist linked up here. If you are unfamiliar with this series, basically at the beginning of the year, I went through and decluttered my collection. But while I was going through everything, I realized there were a ton of products I was on the fence about whether I wanted to keep them or not. And normally in those circumstances, I would just end up keeping products. But I decided that I wanted to specifically pull all of those items out of my collection and put them to the test to see if I wanted to keep them or pass them along. So far, I've been very successful and I've ended up decluttering more than I've kept, which makes me feel pretty good. And this is going to be a pretty big update. So besides showing you those specific items that I'm either choosing to keep or declutter in these videos, I also let you know any other products in my collection I chose to declutter, anything I returned, and anything that has expired on me that I will be tossing out. And I actually have a lot of all of those categories this month. So this is gonna be a pretty big update, and I am going to have my finale at the end of December to show you guys the rest of the products I have, which are mostly winter makeup products. And if there's anything else I'm choosing to declutter, I will let you know in my finale, as well as give you guys my totals of the things that I've trashed, things that I've decluttered, and the things that I've returned. So jumping in with my chopping block items, in my intro I show you all of my chopping block items, but in these updates I'm only showing you the products that I specifically tested over those past 2 months. So the first thing is a Colourpop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Mittens. It is a satin finish, and this is a warm tone deep brown. And originally I thought for sure I would be getting rid of this because I don't really use dark browns and I do not like the matte finishes of the Colourpop Super Shock Shadows or the satins very much at all. I was finding them pretty difficult to work with. But at the beginning of the year, I tried out some Colourpop eyeshadow brushes, the ones that they released at the beginning of the year that had the pink handles, not their new brushes. So I'm not exactly sure if there is a comparable one in their line, but it was their blending brush. And I did do a review and demo, so I'll have that linked up here. And that blending brush works really, really well with these matte and satin Super Shocks to apply them in the crease. And after finding that brush, I have liked these shadows so much more, so I am deciding to keep it. I did wear this the other day. It was a little bit dark for my taste, but I think I just need a little bit more practice with blending these out. But I definitely do want to keep this eyeshadow at least for now, since I did find a nice way to work with it. My next item is a palette. This is a Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette. I do have an entire palette of the month review video on this, which I will have linked up here. If you guys are unfamiliar with this palette, it was limited edition, unfortunately. So you have 10 shades, 1 satin, you have 5 metallics and 4 mattes, a lot of awesome neutrals, and I absolutely love metallic eyeshadows, which is the main reason I was drawn to this palette. But these metallics have so much chunky glitter fallout, especially this gold shade Coin. This is the chunkiest. You definitely have to do your eye makeup first, because it is just going to completely ruin all of your face makeup. So it was a bit of a annoyance to use, but I love the colors and I think the pigment is really nice. This is not my favorite palette by far, and I know I should be getting rid of this, but I can't. This was very expensive. It is very limited edition. It's no longer available. So for those reasons, I will be keeping it. I feel a little bit ashamed because I know I should be getting rid of it. But I have gotten rid of a couple other palettes during this chopping block series, so I do feel good about that because it's very hard for me to let go of palettes. But I know this one isn't my favorite, but I have to keep it. I think the colors are absolutely beautiful. So everything else is lip products. They are all Colourpop with the exception of this one. This is theBalm Meet Matte Hughes liquid lipstick in the shade Committed. I do have an entire review on this liquid lip. I will have that linked up here as well. I think the color is a beautiful, beautiful terracotta shade that's on the lighter side of terracotta. I've got that swatch right here. I think it's absolutely beautiful. The only problem I have with this liquid lip is that I feel like it fades really, really quickly throughout the day, just from talking, like not even eating or drinking. But I love this color a lot, and I am going to hold on to this one for now. I might declutter it in the future, but I do like the scent, and I think it's so, so beautiful. So I will hang on to that. So then everything else, as I said, is from Colourpop. I have got one Ultra Satin lip, and this is in the shade Mess Around. This is a gray tone color. There's a swatch of it right there. It basically looks like wet concrete. It's like a gray tan color. I bought this one because Sam Sherman had done a swatch video of all of the shades, and this looks so beautiful on her. No, this looks absolutely terrible on me. I think because it has more of that brown instead of like a cooler undertone, it looks absolutely terrible. And this was from my first Ultra Satin lip order. And this one smells like glue, so I will be tossing this one. So even though this is something that should be in the trash category, I'm putting it in the chopping block category because this is one of the products I featured in my intro. Such a bummer that it expired so quickly, but at the same time, I don't like that color at all, so I would have gotten rid of it anyway. And then something that is comparable is the Colourpop Ultra Matte Lip in the shade Kapow. And I've got Kapow swatch right here. So if you can see, Mess Around has a bit more of a warm undertone, and Kapow is a little bit more cool. This almost has a little bit of a purpley undertone, while, as I said, Mess Around has a little bit more of a tan brown. So I do like this color better, but I don't love this on me. This looks amazing on my friend Ami, but she has a little bit more of a tan complexion than I do. And I think this looks okay, but it's definitely not something that I hardly ever reach for. I think I only wore it in a couple videos right when I first bought it. And this is the old formula as well. I've had it for quite some time, so I will be tossing this one because it is starting to get a little bit thick and it is older, but it's not something I would repurchase anyway because I just don't reach for that kind of color. My next Colourpop Ultra Matte Lip is in the shade Beeper. I purchased this the same time as I purchased Kapow, so this is older as well. It is the old formula. And right here is a swatch of Beeper. This is a little bit of a deeper, warm tone, brown nude. And I am going to be getting rid of this one because it is older and it's getting a little bit thick, but I'm very excited because my friend Amanda Alexander recently sent me a little mini of Beeper, which is brand new, because I remember I did do a tutorial last year using this and I loved it. I think it looked awesome. This is another color that looks amazing on my friend Ami. It's a beautiful nude on her, but it just is a little bit too brown on me. But with the right makeup look, I think this is stunning. So I'm really happy that I do have a mini of it. It isn't like a must-have shade for me, but I do like it enough. But I'm getting rid of this one because it's old. My next one is an Ultra Matte Lip in the shade Instigator. This is a swatch of it. It is basically like liquid mac and cheese, like ugh. I think this color is absolutely hideous, and maybe it looks beautiful on some people. I'm pretty sure I bought this because of that girl Shay XO's live swatch and review. So this was their second formula. It was the first reformulation, which I didn't like at all. They've reformulated a couple more times since then. I hate this color and I do not like this formula, and it is older, so I will be tossing that one. And the next one I have is in the shade Stingraye, and I love the color in the tube, but as you can see in the swatch, it is so much darker. Now I'm sure my friend Jean would be so upset because this is her favorite Ultra Matte lip. She's purchased a couple of them and I just don't love this color on me, and I also feel like this one has kind of a funky formula that bled a little bit, so I'm going to be getting rid of that one. And then I have my Ultra Matte lip in the shade Chili Chili, which I've got swatched right here, and as you can see, it is like a million shades darker. And again, I would have loved this color, but this is way too dark. It's like a really deep red tone brown, and this also came out the same time as Instigator, so this was their second formula or their first reformulation, which I didn't like, so I'm not going to keep this one. It didn't dry down 100% and it feathered on me, so I am getting rid of that. And then I have two more Colourpop lip products that I actually featured. I think in my first update I decided to keep, and now I'm choosing to declutter them. So the first one is the Ultra Matte Lip in the shade Midi, which is a really light beigey pink nude, and this was from my very first Ultra Matte Lip purchase, so this is very old. It's gotten very thick. It doesn't stink, but it's just the formula has changed, and this nude is a little bit too light for me. My favorite nudes from Colourpop would be the Aquarius line. I love the matte, satin, and glossy lip in Aquarius. I do have a review on those, which I will link up here to show you the differences in the colors, but this is so old, I will be tossing it. And then I have the Colourpop Lippie Stick in the shade Aquarius. This is a cream finish, and this is just a little bit more of a brownie nude than I like. And I also don't enjoy these cream finishes. I find them very thick, and the scent is a little bit stronger. It's a little too sickeningly sweet for me. And I do have other nude lippy sticks that I prefer from Colourpop, so I am going to be giving this one away. So for all of my liquid lips from Colourpop, I'm just going to be tossing all of them, even though not all of them are expired, but the formula has definitely gotten thick, and I do not think that my friends in my personal life would wear these colors, so that's why I'll be tossing them. But I will give away the lippy stick because I can sanitize this one, and I can see some of my friends enjoying this. So I do feel pretty happy that I'm getting rid of all those lip lip products, and I'm trying not to think about how much money I spent on them, because even though Colourpop is inexpensive, one of the worst things is that the colors in person are nothing like they look online, especially because I'm so fair, and with liquid lips, they always dry down a lot darker than they look in the tube, especially from Colourpop. So I'm really happy that out of all these chopping block items, the only things I'm keeping would be these Super Shock in Mittens, the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette, and the Balm Meet Matte Hughes liquid lip. And these are the things I'm keeping for now. Who knows, down the line I may choose to declutter them, but I do feel pretty happy with that. So now I want to move on to some of the other items out of my collection that I am choosing to declutter. And the first one is a Colourpop Super Shock shadow. Now I don't get rid of these very often because I love the Super Shock so much. This is the shade Nillionaire. It has a metallic finish, and I did talk about this in depth in a single shadow of the month during the summertime. This is my least favorite Colourpop Super Shock shadow because this has so much chunky glitter fallout. It gets all over my face. It's a beautiful goldy bronze shade, but I cannot deal with the fallout, and I think it isn't the same way for everyone. So I'm going to try to give this away to somebody in my personal life. I think that they might really enjoy trying a Super Shock, and it is still very creamy. It's just too much fallout. I just don't even want to be bothered with it. And then I have a couple different eyeshadows I'm getting rid of, not because they're not good, because they're actually very good quality. It's just because I don't reach for them. So I will be giving these away to some of my friends. And the first one is the Sleek Storm palette. Now these are such beautiful, beautiful jewel tones. Unfortunately, you only have a couple mattes in this palette, the matte black, the dark matte brown, and this transition shade, which I think is awesome. And I did do a review on this a while back. The colors are beautiful. I love all these shimmers. They perform really well. But again, I have all of these shades, or I don't really wear them. I love the way that jewel tones look, but a lot of times I find them to be too dark for my preference of shadow. So I think that these are great. It's actually kind of hard for me to get rid of this, but I have not used it since I reviewed it like 2 years ago. So for that reason, I am going to be getting rid of this to a friend who I think will use it more than me. And then I have another product that I am sadly getting rid of, and these are some of my Inglot singles, and I have little stickers on the back with the numbers. So this is M316, M358, P434, P423, and M352. M stands for matte and P stands for pearl. I think that these work really well. They're very pigmented. They blend really nicely, but I just don't love these shades. And unfortunately, when I purchased these was a while back when Inglot was popular, and the colors online look completely different than what they do in person. And I try looking up swatch pictures and everything, and they just look so different. And none of these shades, with the exception of M316, are shades that I think that I would reach for. And I have a similar shade from Makeup Geek, so I'm going to be giving this to a friend because I just don't reach for it, but they're really good quality shadows. I definitely want to buy more Inglot shadows because some Macy's have them in stores so you can swatch them, and they've come up with a lot more shades since then. I do want to give Inglot another try. I think they're great quality. I just didn't like those shades. Then I have another Sleek item I will be decluttering. This is the Sleek Ooh La La liner. It is a waterproof, smudge-proof liner in the shade Blue Moon, which is basically just a navy. You guys might know that I never ever use pencil liner, very rarely, and I've decluttered a bunch of shades over the years, and I only kept a few that I really love, and I just never wear navy liner, so I will be passing this on to my mom. I did test this out, and I think it is a very good formula. It's just not a shade that I reach for, and I don't want to have it sitting in my collection going bad when I can give it to somebody else. The next product is an Estee Lauder blush. This is just a little mini size that I got with a free gift with purchase, and this is in the shade Pink Kiss. This is my favorite Estee Lauder blush. When I worked there, this was the color that I loved the most, and I wore this a lot when I was working at Estee Lauder, but since then I haven't reached for it. I think it's a really pretty shade. It is a good formula, but I just have so many blushes that this is one that I never reach for, especially because this is something I would use in the summer, and I have so many summer blushes. So this is something I'm going to declutter to my sister. I know that she enjoys the Estee Lauder formula, and really she's not too picky about blush, and this is definitely a kind of color that she goes for, so I will be giving this to her. And then I have one nail polish that I'm going to be decluttering. This is from the Maybelline Color Show Bleached Neons collection in the shade Coral Heat. And I prefer corals that are a lot more pink tone, and this one is definitely a lot more orange tone on the nails. The formula is awesome. This is opaque in 2 coats and it has a satin finish, but I do just put a regular top coat on it to make it glossy, but you don't need a white base under it at all. The formula is great. I just don't like this shade, so I am going to be decluttering this one as well. It looks like I've used a decent amount, but I think it's just because it's a small bottle, because I swear I've only used it probably 3 times, so I will be decluttering that. So those are all the extra things I'm decluttering, and none of those are bad products. Basically, they don't fit my color preferences, or I'm just not reaching for them. And then I do have 2 products that I've returned. The first thing is the CoverFX Matte Loose Setting Powder. I had the light shade, and you guys know that I've been trying to use up the RC May No Color Powder, which I was finally able to finish, which is so fantastic. I do not like that powder, but while using that, I realized that I really do enjoy setting my face with loose powder. I think it looks less heavy and cakey. And I was wanting to find a loose powder that was meant for oily skin. So I thought this would be great. I swatched it. It felt so silky smooth. It was very finely milled. But it absolutely did nothing for my skin. I don't think it helped me stay more matte. And because it was so finely milled, it was almost like I needed to put on a lot more to feel like it was actually setting my foundation and that my skin didn't feel tacky. So I felt like I was wasting it, and it is a very expensive powder, and I just did not see enough results from it. So I did return it to get my money back, and I'm very happy with that decision. And it's probably a good thing I didn't fall in love with it because it is so expensive, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I didn't notice anything special from it, especially not for that price. And then I did return something that I just featured in my last haul. It's a Dose of Colors liquid lipstick in the shade Bear With Me, and I have been wanting that shade for over a year. It looks like an amazing light peachy shade on a lot of other people, and on me it was like a really whited out salmon, and it looked really funky on my skin tone, which was so disappointing because I've always been interested in that shade. So I did end up returning that to Ulta, and now I wish I had purchased a bunch more shades because I only ended up with 1. I'm very happy with Rosebud. I think that color is really pretty, and I do like this formula a lot, so it was a bummer that I did end up liking that shade, but I did return it to get my money back. And the last portion of this video is showing you the products that I will be trashing because they have gone bad, which is always really sad. I feel like more this year than ever before I've had things expiring on me, which is a bit of a bummer. So the first 3 things have not changed in scent or formula or consistency or anything, but in August I did do a entire makeup inventory Excel spreadsheet, and I organized things by category as well as from oldest to newest, and I went back through all of my haul videos. Thank goodness I've been on YouTube for so long. I went back through my haul videos to see when I purchased things, and some of these things were not even featured in a haul video, which is how I know how extremely old they are. And even though they perform the same, they're all eye products, so I feel like I should probably just throw them out in the trash, which is very sad because they're all really awesome things, but they're just too old to justify holding on to. So the first thing is an eyeshadow from CQ, which is a drugstore brand that used to be sold at Walmart back in the day. This is in the shade Bark. It is a matte neutral brown. This is so pigmented and so creamy. Really amazing quality for a drugstore matte shadow. I used to use this a ton in my crease. Can you imagine putting this dark of a shade like concentrated in your crease? I definitely used to do that with Sumptuous Olive from MAC on my lid. Oh my gosh, like thank goodness my makeup skills have improved some since then, but I never reach for dark browns anyway, and if I do, I have a bunch in palettes. So even though this is a brand that's not around, if I could repurchase it, I wouldn't, just because I don't need that shade, but the formula was really good. And then I had 2 L'Oreal Hip Color Chrome eyeliners. Do you guys remember the L'Oreal Hip line? That was one of the first makeup lines I really started falling in love with when I was in high school. Their little eyeshadow duos were awesome. Like, that makeup was so much more fun than the regular L'Oreal makeup because it was like bright and colorful for teens and young adults. Anyway, I had 2 of their Color Chrome liners in the silver shade 915 Silver Lightning, and in the gold shade 920 Gold Charge. The gold is a little bit more of like a greeny antique gold, which I don't love as much, and the silver is so beautiful. But these are very pigmented. They remind me of the same formula as the L'Oreal Silk Sesame, except I like these better. The Silk Sesame liners feel a little bit thinner and more slippery. I still like them, but I think that this was a better formula. But I never ever reach for these anymore. I hardly ever wear silver liner, and the gold I wear on occasion, but again, it isn't my favorite color of gold because it is that little bit more of an antique-y greeny gold. But these were amazing liners. I use them a lot, but unfortunately they are ancient and I need to throw them out. My next product I will be tossing is the Colourpop Super Shock Cheek in the shade Between the Sheets. I recently went through and swatched all of my Super Shock blushes, and this is the only one that was like completely dried out. This is a really pretty light peachy neutral shade that goes really well with an intense warm eye look. I do not like the Colourpop Super Shock blushes. I think that they are very hard to work with. They're just way too dry. I would recommend trying out their new powder blush formula. I haven't tried those yet, but I might pick up one to test the formula, but no, this is just completely dried out, so I will be tossing it, and I will never buy any more of these Super Shock bronzers, blushes, or highlighters. I don't like any of those formulas and just too hard to work with, but I did like this shade. My next item is the NYX Eyebrow Gel in the shade Blonde. This is supposed to be a dupe of the Makeup Forever Aqua Brow. I remember when this first came out several years ago when I first started getting into brow products, and I thought it was so fun, so cool, and it is, but it's very, very messy. And also, at least with brow pomades, you can put some of the product in the cap. This, you have to put on a palette, on your hand, something else. But this is so thick and dried out, it won't even squeeze out anymore, so I will be tossing this. You guys know I'm not really into any kind of a brow pomade anymore. I just prefer pencil and powder, so I will be tossing this, and I am not going to repurchase it. My next thing is the MAC pigment in the shade Rose. This is a pigment, but it seems more like a glitter. And I mentioned this in one of my spring single shadow of the month videos, and I think I meant to declutter it a while back, but then I forgot. This did not work for me. I tried putting this over a glitter base, over a cream shadow, and this would just get all over my face and it would not stick to my eye for the life of me. I could not get this to work. Now, this is a very, very old pigment sample, so it very well could be that this has just gone bad, because I know a lot of people love this, but I have a lot of shadows that are pressed that are a similar color. This basically looks like NARS Orgasm in shadow. So the color is pretty, but the formula doesn't work for me, so I will be tossing that. And then I do have 3 Colourpop lip products that have expired, and I will be tossing. The first one is an Ultra Matte Lip in the shade Trap. I purchased this a long time ago. It was for my second order. It is the original formula, and this has gotten incredibly thick and goopy, but I did like, ugh, this is so gross even swatching it, it's so thick. But I think that this is a really pretty color. It's a really nice like gray beige, light tanny nude. This is something that I could see myself repurchasing in the future potentially, because this is a unique color for me, but it is still wearable, so maybe in the future, but this is just too old and it is starting to smell a tiny bit, so I will be tossing that one. And then I have 2 other Colourpop Ultra Satin lips. These are from my very first order. The first one I have here is Echo Park, which is a light peach, and a lot of people love this, and I thought that it was going to be absolutely beautiful on my skin tone, but for some reason I think it looks kind of odd, and it looks fine in a swatch. This one, even though you think it would go with everything, only goes with certain makeup looks. And as I said, it has gone bad, it smells like glue, but I don't like this shade, so I won't repurchase it. And then I have the shade Frickin' Frack, which I fell in love with last year in the fall time. I thought it was absolutely stunning, and you guys know that I do really love the Ultra Satin Lip formula. So right here is a swatch of Frickin' Frack, and this is something that I would actually repurchase because I love the color so much. But as I've told you guys in all of these updates, the Colourpop Ultra Satin Lips expire between 6 months to 9 months for me, which is ridiculous because I tend to wear a specific lip product during one season of the year, and then I will put it to the side and then wear it the next year. Well, this is gonna expire every single year, meaning that I can only use this for 3 months and then it's going to expire. Well, I have a bunch of other lip products and I'm never going to actually be able to make progress on this. So I love this color so much that I actually would repurchase it. But I did see somewhere that the Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit liquid lipstick in the shade Give Me Mocha was a dupe. I haven't tried any of those yet, but I know a lot of people love them. And I think it is about the same price, if not a little bit cheaper. And it's not going to expire after 6 months. So I'm thinking that if I decide that I really, really want this color again, I will try the Wet n Wild and see if I like that formula and color, because this shade is absolutely beautiful. Out of all of these Colourpop liquid lips, this is the one that I would repurchase. I think it's so stunning and I love this formula, but it just expires way too quickly for me. So guys, that was my very, very long chopping block Will I Declutter update number 4. I would love to know your all's thoughts on all these products that I mentioned. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.